Okay, so you wanna read, that's great. Awesome. You get a book, you read it, and you're hoping that it will make your life easier or you will learn something valuable from it. But the reality is that after you're done reading, either you won't remember anything, or even if you do, after a few weeks your brain will move on to something else and you will totally forget the book and its lessons. I know this is true because it happened to me far too often in the past. And that is the reason I researched and made this video. Today, we will go over 4 tips to make you read a book once and remember it forever. Well, not forever, but for a very long period of time. Besides reading for pure entertainment, there are 2 types of active reading. That's reading to collect facts and reading for comprehension. But author Neil Postman, 1931 to 2003, argued that this classification is a modern construct. In the past, before technology changed the nature of reading, there only existed one type of reading for comprehension. Because information wasn't so widely available, once you got a book, you made sure to get every single bit of information out of it. You had a conversation with the author, agreeing and critiquing the ideas in the book, while also comparing them to other ideas you already knew. Today, however, information flows at crazy speeds, and with it we develop hunger for easily digestible formats. I mean, with a single click of a button, you can download hundreds of ebooks, podcasts, videos, and book summaries. So, reading for comprehension kind of took a backseat and became this mysterious, forgotten way of reading. So, following is a strategy you can use to read a book for comprehension and remember it for longer periods of time. These strategies are based on the writings of Charles von Doren and Mortimer J. Adler. If you read for comprehension, you ideally would be able to answer these 4 questions. First, what is the overall message or theme in the book? This is the first question you should ask yourself as soon as you start reading a book. Since you're asking this question implicitly, naturally you will read the book with an intention to fill that gap. If you read Dopamine Nation from Dr. Anna Lemke, it would be about how dopamine in modern times affect our reward circuits and how we can overcome addictions. If you read Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, it's about how becoming friends with pain and mastering your mind can unlock your full potential. Now, if you can answer this question, what is the overall message, what is the underlying idea, then you're more likely to remember the smaller ideas/lessons from the book as well. It's like opening a folder in your brain and all the smaller ideas will be placed inside this memory. Number 2. How does the writer's argument unfold? In other words, how does the story and logic develop? We're far more likely to remember a connected story than pure facts. For example, in the book Mastery by Robert Greene, the author states his argument that all of us possess the ability to become masters in a particular area. He then proceeds to expand on this idea and walk you through the different stages, from being clueless to finding your life's task or life's goal, then beginning an apprenticeship to learn the basics, followed by finding a mentor and absorbing his knowledge, then entering the creative active phase, which is experimenting with the knowledge you gained, and finally attaining mastery. He outlines the whole journey from being clueless to attaining mastery, and once you identify the pattern of how the author's argument unfolds, you will not just understand the book better, but also absorb and recall it with greater accuracy. Number 3 is questioning the contents of the book. Once you have understood the ideas the author has put forward, you can judge the quality of the content. Are the ideas truthful? Are they biased? Do they apply in modern times as well as they did back then when it was written? You should ask yourself, do you agree or maybe disagree with some of them, while also providing evidence for your opinions? Let's take mastery again, for example. The author says that a long apprenticeship phase is required for mastery. If you disagree with this idea, can you provide an example of someone you know that attained mastery without the long apprenticeship? Or do you agree with it? Do you know someone who mastered their field and also went under a long apprenticeship in the past? If you can agree or disagree while providing evidence, your brain will remember the idea you critiqued or defended with much better clarity, making it easier to recall and use it. Which leads us to the final step. Ask yourself, how will you act upon the ideas? In other words, how are you planning to use them? In the book Atomic Habits, there's this idea that changing your environment plays a huge role in the creation of habits. I wanted to make a habit of taking supplements and vitamins daily without forgetting them after a few days. which has happened quite a few times in the past. I use the idea of environment and place the water jug and all of the supplements I need right next to my keyboard, where I do most of my work. It's safe to say that in the past year, from 365 days, I've missed maybe around 10 days in total. With the act of using the idea, not only that I remember it in that particular context, I begin to understand it on a much deeper level, since I experienced it and made it my own. Now, even if several years pass by and you ask me about the ideas in the book, my brain will say supplements near keyboard makes habit easier, and I'll be able to recall and explain the idea with great clarity. And that is how you read a book, understand it better and remember it forever. In short, figure out what is the overall message or theme in the book and try to describe it in your own words. Pay attention to how the writer's argument unfolds. Look out for recurring ideas. They usually are the most important and quite often the focus of the book. Question the contents and the ideas in the book. Do you agree or maybe disagree with them? And more importantly, why do you agree or disagree? Do you have an example in mind? And finally, ask yourself, how can you act on the ideas of the book? Tailor a simple plan and maybe do act on them this time around. If you found this video helpful, consider taking a few seconds to click the like button as it helps the channel. Anyway, hope these videos help and I'll see you in the next one.